At one time it was thought that there was only 4 kinds of elements, which is not only in medieval times, but going way back to ancient Greece, ancient Rome, and those are the standard 4 of earth, air, fire and water. I think in China actually they have a 5th one, which I think is wood, but I'm not sure about that. And I think there's obviously it's way off. As anybody who's done chemistry at school and knows the periodic table of the elements, we know it's now up to 120, something like that, different elements. But certainly we still have some sort of intuition like that. I'm not going to talk about that, but just as an example of how that kind of thinking can put together things which don't really belong together, but which feel intuitively connected. My understanding is that in medieval times, within the general category of fire, that would include lightning, actual burning flames, the phosphorescence that one sees in the ocean, and the light at the tail end of fireflies. And they do bear some superficial similarity, you know, they all glow in the dark, basically. But of course they're completely different things. Burning and flames is an oxidation reaction, more similar to rusting than it is to anything else. Phosphorescence and the back end of fireflies are biochemical luminescence, and lightning is an electromagnetic exchange. So they're very different, but the fact that they're sort of held within a similar concept makes them feel similar, makes them feel connected. And I suspect something similar goes on in a kind of intuitive, metaphorical understanding. Given that we use, for example, substances as metaphors, and I've spoken before about how we tend to use things like liquids as metaphors for particular states of mind, but also states of knowledge and other things. And we tend to use solids for, again, other kinds of descriptions. What may happen within that aspect is that when different concepts share the same metaphorical substance, that we kind of intuitively group them together in the way that medieval alchemists would group fireflies and lightning and flames. They feel connected. I'm just trying to think of an example of that. Well, metaphors that use fire as part of their understanding, their conceptualization, might include creativity. So we talk about the spark of creativity or the flame of creativity burning brightly or something like that. We can conceptualize it as a bright light going on, almost like a flame being ignited, and or a candle, in fact. And we also talk about flames being to do with passion and heat, and possibly anger. Now those are completely unrelated concepts. Creativity and anger or passion are different. But it may be that the fact they share a similar metaphor to do with flames and heat and sparks and light, it may be that we tend to view them as somehow connected. And I think anybody who's ever seen the film Lust for Life with what's it called, Kirk Douglas, it's a biopic about Vincent van Gogh, would say that certainly there's an exploitation of the connection going on there. Creative individuals, the possessed individual, you might say, is characterized as being inflamed with passion and possibly consumed by anger and possibly even tormented by those inner burning desires, a desire to create a particular thing. So it may be that that connection is probably spurious. But one of the holding structures for that connection is through this sharing of a common metaphor within an intuitive understanding of, in that particular case, substances.